From the basements of the beautiful Chrysler Building in New York City, this is the Scammies, where we just took a Twitter poll to see if we should turn this into a paid show so we can upgrade our offices. Y'all voted no. So we're keeping it free and in the basement. I'm your host, Michael Robertson, and each episode I'm trying to make you just a little bit smarter so you can spot the scams and the scammers and ultimately keep more of your own money. I'm now solidly in my 50s, and when that happens, those around you push to get regular medical checkups. Every year or two, you're supposed to use an afternoon or maybe a whole day to go to the doctor to assess your overall health and identify potential health concerns. These checkups include physical exams, blood work, urine tests, lab tests, screenings for various conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, all the big killers. The doctor will almost certainly recommend a mammogram, colonoscopy, or prostate exam if you're older. It may help save your life, they'll declare, and who doesn't want to live longer? I often see friends proudly chronicling their prostate or colonoscopy online and cajoling others to join them. At these exams, they often will give you a lifetime ticket on the big pharma drug train, prescribing anti-cholesterol meds or blood pressure meds. Now, this suggestion that dumping a chemical into your body that evolution has curiously overlooked that will help you live longer, I find is preposterous as magic beans. But I'll save that for another Scammies. Well, I'm not getting a checkup, and certainly not a colonoscopy or a prostate exam or taking cholesterol medicine because they're a scam. The medical establishment pushes it like greeting card industry pushes Valentine's and Mother's Day because it's an enormous moneymaker, but there's no net medical benefit. Yeah, you heard me right. No net benefit. You won't live longer. And that's the goal, right? To squeeze all the life out of our bodies that we can. Let me back up. Scams are built on claims. Eat whatever you want and still lose weight. Make a fortune investing in NFTs, all with no risk. Work a few hours per week on a side hustle and make thousands. How do you know if these are true? Most people, too many people, rely on stories to ascertain truth. They'll hear a story from a passionate storyteller and they'll become a believer. The problem is, humans are wired to believe stories. We're very emotional. And there are some astonishingly good storytellers that can make people believe almost anything. Too often, the person telling the story has a financial interest in converting you to a believer. Fortunately, when it comes to medical claims, we have a viable alternative to believing stories. They're called studies. They're a few clicks away on Google or ChatGPT. Studies are regimented tests where half the people get a treatment and half don't. By comparing the two populations, we can determine with a high degree of confidence if a treatment is effective. But how do you measure effectiveness exactly? Well, when it comes to medical claims, there's really only one question to ask. Do people who get the preventive treatment live longer than those that don't? If the treatment is effective, then lives should be extended. Conversely, those not getting the treatment should die earlier, proving that the treatment will extend life. The medical establishment uses a diabolical trick to mislead the public. They avoid the question entirely about prolonging life and, like a crafty magician, misdirect your attention to another question they know that you're likely to get a positive result for. Take mammograms and prostate exams. They're often looking for cancer. And of course, when you look for something, you're going to find it. So they'll claim the mammogram and prostate exams help detect cancer early. They'll say they found polyps or precancerous cells or even actual cancer. Then they'll embark on a series of surgeries or radiation or chemotherapy. At the conclusion, they'll declare that life was saved. That is, if the procedures don't kill you, which sometimes does happen. If they don't kill you, some treatments might cause more problems than the cancer would have. Still worse, could be a false positive where cancer is indicated but doesn't actually exist. Maybe the test detects cancer, but it's so minor that it's not life-threatening, and and so you would never have negatively impacted your life. These aren't theoretical concerns, but common medical side effects. But they're asking the wrong question entirely, so the answer is irrelevant. The only question that matters is human life prolonged by the treatment? If yes, then we can ask further questions like how long is life prolonged and at what cost? Might be big, might be small, and cost matters too, because when we spend money on one thing, that's less money to spend on other priorities, but at least there's some value. However, if life is not prolonged, then we know it's a waste of time and money and should not be promoted. Back to the claim at hand, which is general health checkups identify problems early and thus save lives. If that's the case, then people who get them should live longer than those that don't. A fascinating 2019 study looked at this exact question and concluded that routine health checks do not prolong lives. It was a meta-analysis which combines the research from many studies. In this one, they looked at 15 other studies which tracked outcome data on more than 250,000 participants. So it was huge. Half these participants had received general health checkups and half hadn't. And then they compared the two groups. The big killers that general health checks are supposed to detect are cancer, heart disease, and stroke. The authors of this huge study looked at each of those three, and here's what they concluded. Health checks have little or no effect on total mortality or cancer mortality. Now, no effect on total mortality and cancer mortality, it's a medical way of saying that people aren't dying less from cancer or anything else. Wow. But what about heart disease? Here's what they said. Probably has little or no effect on cardiovascular mortality, and little or no effect on fatal or non-fatal heart attacks. So general checkups aren't helping with heart issues. And as for strokes, the health checks, quote, probably have little or no effect on fatal or non-fatal strokes. So general health checks don't minimize or save your life when it comes to brain issues either. Now, you may find these claims surprising. As with all claims, you should be skeptical. But remember, this is a meta-analysis. This wasn't one study. This was a combination of many studies. And it may surprise you that this wasn't even the first meta-analysis on this topic. Another one published in the Journal of General Internal Medicine in 2013 reviewed 29 studies and found that general health checkups did not significantly reduce all-cause or cause-specific mortality. So the same result. Yet another meta-analysis published in the British Medical Journal in 2012 reviewed 21 studies and found that general health checkups did not significantly reduce mortality from all causes, cardiovascular disease, or cancer. Wow. The evidence is strikingly clear. General health checkups for the general population is a waste of time and money. But why haven't you heard this information before? Well, it's because the medical establishment has a huge financial interest in your business. They get money every time you show up for an appointment. And pharma companies know they can't prescribe those cholesterol drugs unless you show up in an exam room. Your doctor will get richer, but you won't live longer getting regular health checkups. So cancel the annual physical, cancel the mammogram, cancel the colonoscopy, cancel the prostate exam. No need to check in every year or every other year or when your birthday ends in a 0. None of these will help you defy Father Time. I'm sure this sounds Neanderthal-like to many, but I want to be clear what I'm saying and what these studies concluded. The data unequivocally shows that going to the doctor when you feel fine to get general tests will not extend your life. Now, you should seek medical attention when you're detecting an issue with your body. If you sense something is wrong, then absolutely go to the doctor. But doing it because the medical establishment tells you to, or because your birthday ends in a 0, or your friends pressure you to, does not make medical or economic sense. definitely listen to your body, but save trips to the doctor and money for when you really need the attention. Well, that's this episode of the Scammies. I'll link to the studies I reference in the show notes. Thanks for watching, and feel free to leave a comment, and I'll reply. Bye-bye.